What's up, fight fans? This is JD at Bvtvnews, and I'm back to give y'all the latest and greatest news in the sport of boxing. With that being said, man, let's talk a little bit about Mr. Eddie Berlanga, who has gotten back into the winners column, and he now has, another knockout on his resume. So, he faced McCrory, a undefeated fighter who a lot of people were, expecting to see this kind of dominating performance. It started out a little slow with Eddie Berlanga, kind of the first couple rounds. You could tell it was sort of a feeling out, period. But ultimately, the power of Berlanga did get McCrory out of there. So we all expected that to happen. So let's fast forward to where we stand now in the Canelo Alvarez sweepstakes. So first, to touch on Canelo Alvarez, he has not announced an opponent just yet because of the money situation with him and PBC. Now, it was reported that PBC is willing to guarantee him over $30 million for his next fight on Cinco de Mayo, so long as it is against the Mexican Jaime Munguia. Now, if Canelo Alvarez chooses a Jamal Charlo, PBC has announced that they are not willing to guarantee Canelo Alvarez massive money if he's going to choose Jamal Charlo, because naturally, that's not going to sell as well as a Munguia versus Canelo Alvarez bout. So that has Canelo Alvarez at the table examining all the different particular offers that PBC is willing to put on the table for him. Now we enter into the conversation, potentially a Eddie Berlanga, but I kind of honestly don't think that Berlanga will be getting that fight as of right now. I think that Canelo Alvarez would much rather, Berlanga kind of win another fight or two before he really entertains Berlanga versus Canelo. Now, of course, if you're Eddie Berlanga and Eddie Hearn, you're calling for the bout because you're wanting to do the bout just on the strength of it being, your typical Puerto Rico versus Mexico bout, and you think that, the hype of the two countries, would make that a massive bout. But honestly, for real, boxing heads and real boxing experts, from the eye test, I don't believe that anybody believes that it would be a highly competitive bout just yet with Berlanga versus Canelo Alvarez. So with that being said, though, I will say there was a particular fighter at the fight who I actually would love to see Berlanga get into the ring against, which would kind of be a step up above McCrory, but it probably wouldn't be on the level of, let's say, a Jaime Munguia or a Canelo Alvarez for sure. And that is, the journeyman by the name of Gabe Rosado. Now, Gabe Rosado, while he's never been the most elite fighter, he's always been a very, very solid fighter that gives everybody challenges when he gets into the ring. And so I would love to see Berlanga get into the ring against a Gabe Rosado. And if Berlanga can stand up to that test, then we would really have seen a lot of development in Berlanga to him ascending to that level where he could really fight with the best of them. Because that Gabe Rosado has a lot of experience. He's a veteran. He's a hard-nosed fighter. He's not a fighter that you're going to easily just knock out of there. And I think he would give Berlanga his stiffest test to kind of, get him to that next level, So I think that is a name that I think that they should really entertain if Berlanga is not able to land Canelo, which I don't think he will. And if potentially, him and Munguia don't sit down and make a Berlanga versus Munguia bout, which I still feel with the ages of Jaime and Edgar, I think that's still a fight that probably is another fight or two away where you would get Berlanga versus Munguia. But nevertheless, man, that's where it stands right now for Edgar Berlanga. We'll see what the next move is. Of course, everybody, again, has to wait for the major domino of Canelo Alvarez to decide who he's going to choose, whether it be Jamal Charlo or potentially Jaime Munguia for that massive payday. And I don't think, Edgar will really be in play, but I'm sure that Eddie Hearn will send a contract over. And, of course, by now you all know that Benavidez has moved up to 175 as of right now due to them offering Canelo a bout and him not accepting it. But nonetheless, man, let me know what you think in the comments about Edgar Berlanga's performance and who do you think he'll really get into the ring with in his next outing later on this year in 2024. Do you think it will be, a Canelo Alvarez or a Jaime Munguia? Or do you think that him and Eddie Hearn will have to settle for another lower tier fighter, to try to establish more of a resume before those big names? But let me know what you think in the comments. This is JD of BVTV News. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, man, deuces.